Hey guys, and I am here with the all-new, brand new Range Rover, over 50 years in the making. This is the 5th generation car. This will be the last Range Rover to have internal combustion engines, although in the lifetime of this car, we will be going full electric, full BEV, and this will have a BE version in 2024. To start with, it will have drivetrain that we're familiar with. So it will have a series of six-cylinder engines, both petrol and diesel, mild hybrid, but also plug-in hybrid. And the interesting thing is that the plug-in hybrid six-cylinder will have an EV-only range of 100 kilometers, about 60 miles, which I think is about 20 miles, if I'm not mistaken, more than most other plug-ins. Plus you can do 140 kilometers per hour in that car just on EV mode. You'll also get a 4.4 litre V8. That's unusual. They're developing a new V8 for this car, but I think they may have taken that from somewhere else. And also, like I said, in 2024, you will be getting battery electric vehicle versions of this as well. This car is completely new. It's a completely new platform. It is, as you can see, redesigned. I mean, I know on first glance it looks the same as the previous car, but we're going to get into a little bit of detail with that, with the designer on that, to point out the key differences. This one is stunning in satin gold sunrise, I think this one is, or sunset, I'm not sure, it's one of those, but anyway. But this is the launch car, so this is a limited edition, first edition car. This will be running for the first year of production. The big thing about the car is the rear end. Look at that, that's completely different. The car itself is, I believe, 50 millimeters longer overall than the previous car, 70 millimeter longer wheelbase, and the longer wheelbase car is 200 millimeters longer than before. It's got a lot of technical features. They've got 125 technical patents on this car. So that's all the technology that's gone into it. Everything from headlights, I've got 1.2 million micro mirrors in it, to these incredible taillights over here, which are LEDs. The indicators come up on here and the rear taillights are on here. Now these are LEDs that actually face into the car and then are reflected back so that they can control how they actually display that. So that's pretty clever. Also, you see the U-shaped motif on the back lights is actually transferred onto, for example, the panel over here as well. So there's quite a few elements that are unique and different to this car. One of the amazing things about it is how they've made this whole thing flush, and we're going to talk about that as well with the designer. The other important thing about Range Rovers, of course, is the split folding rear, and it still has that. It has the bottom part that folds out, and you get an event seating thing, so you get cushions and stuff like that, which you can put up there. Not only that, but then you get lighting, you get audio that you can then control with your smartphone. So it has all of those facilities built into it. Now, the longer wheelbase version of this car has actually been designed as a 7-seater, so 7 seats will be optional on that car. And in order to do that, apart from obviously it's a bit longer, and in fact with the rear luggage space being over 1,000 litres, but with the longer wheelbase car, they've redesigned the C-pillar inside to give it more room so you can easily access, you can get in and out and all of that sort of stuff, and more facilities there, including like where they place the grab handles, like actually in the door base here rather than grab handles over there. Inside, it's got a massive front screen. It's got all the luxury and everything that you would expect. You should see the SV version, which is the white car on the other side of this one. And that's got 4 seats in there, and it's got a meter of legroom in the back of it. A lot of custom kit in that car. It's got basically a table that will come out of the center, and you can actually fold that or direct it towards yourself or to the passenger. And it does that electronically. And of course, it's got a fridge in the back with its own glasses that you can use as well. In the front, of course, there is all the things you'd expect from a Range Rover. Now, I did check this. It's very important. Are you able to put your elbow on the door? So in fact, I'm just going to get in quickly, because one of the things that's very important with a Range Rover, I find, throughout all of its 5 generations, is to confirm that you can sit in this throne-like driving position and put your elbow on the windowsill, which you still can. You can do it in the back as well. And it still has these things, you know, these rotary adjustment things that you get on Range Rovers. And these on the SV, you can now get with ceramic finishes on here and on the gear lever and on these other knobs over here. Incredible level of wood and quality here, massive touchscreen that floats on here. The steering is rake and reach adjustable. There's a completely new digital instrumentation there. The car is packed full of features. It is quite incredible. And I can't wait to give this thing a try. It'll be going on sale spring next year in most markets. So globally, expect to start seeing it on roads around March and April next year. I'm looking forward to driving it before then. I'm fortunate to have Massimo, who is the design director of Jaguar Land Rover, with me to talk a little bit about the new Range Rover. Now, I said before that at first glance, it looks quite similar, but there's a lot of changes going on here. Starting with, for example, this front end. The grille, I've noticed, is higher, and the headlights are slimmer.
Yes, you're correct. There are actually a lot of differences. The front end is the, let's say, the face of the car, is the area where we maintain the formality of the vehicle. But there are big differences in terms of volume. You know, the front end has a volume that is actually more imposing. It's got a lot more road presence. The execution of the grille is a little slimmer, but it has a lot of formality with a very modern execution. Down to the headlamp. The headlamps are one of my favorite items.
It's a work of art, isn't it, with that cut glass features that it's got?
Exactly. We wanted this crystal look that adds that level of preciousness and like jewel-like quality to the.
But it's not just art; it's very clever as well, isn't it? It was a 1.2 million micro mirrors in there.
Yeah, and what's beautiful about it is that you got this beautiful signature, Range Rover signature. But then as you move around, because you have this crystal effect, the light refracts in different ways, so it's constantly moving and changing. We think that that's very, very characterful. All the way down to the lower of the vehicle, that is very clean, very simple, with a graphic that is there to emphasize the width of the vehicle. And hides all the sensors and radars and lidars that.
It feels a little bit like you've got rid of the bumper altogether, doesn't it? Is that deliberate?
It is deliberate because we wanted to shorten the front end as much as possible and have the cleanest surface possible, retaining this upright nature of the car. So we felt that it was important to, accelerate the surface but still retain that very clean. Presence.
And the clean presence continues along the side, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The whole car is about, this reductive approach. So we removed pretty much everything that we could remove in terms of finishes and details that are not necessary to the design. I mean, you look at even the execution of this side vent, how integrated and flush is, flush door handles. This is a beautiful piece of engineering.
This is incredible.
It is
incredible. I realize
incredible.
how you've completely removed that strip and the door literally goes right up to the window there.
Because this is something that doesn't add anything to the visual quality of the car if you have a molding that's visible. So it's nothing to the customer. It's nothing to the overall appearance of the. So it was important for us to hide that molding, the flush glazing, the laser welding on the roof. The precision of this feature that
which follows on from the clamshell bonnet. It's a little bit higher, isn't it?
It is higher because it gives that sort of emphasis on the body side, which is balanced by the curvature, what we call the waterline, the horizon on the body side. But this is again, the execution of this is incredible because we got aluminum panels, and this looks like it's been milled out of a solid rather than pressed into the metal. It's that precise.
And going for that solidity. So is that another reason why, for example, the hockey stick bottom that comes off that has now gone?
Yes, correct. So it's a very clean body side. Clearly, you need to have a feature to define the attitude. And if we go back to the three famous lines of Range Rovers, right, you got the top one on the roof that is gently sloping, then you got the horizontal through the waistline, and then you have the lower feature that kind of rises towards the back. It gives a sense of lightness and elegance to the back end. So that was very important. It's very crisp. It's very defined. Again, removing the D-pillar capping and executing in.
It's just full glazing all the way along, isn't it?
Outstanding piece of glass that is formed to the shape that we needed and removes all the joints and the finishes. It's just very clean. Talks to the quality of this vehicle. These details is very important because normally you would have this crease line running around the car, but on this vehicle, because of the execution of the whole back end.
So this is a punctuation full stop. And then you've got like this piece de resistance of I'm going to be sitting in traffic just looking at the back of the new Range Rovers because that looks amazing.
It does. And Again, it all came from this theme that encapsulate the whole back end, that created also the section for the shoulder along the car, that it's a rounded section this time, with a lot of tension, so it's not like a bloated section or a soft section. It's just very controlled to the millimeter. But then yes, we get to the back where now in this case the lights are on, but when they're not on, they disappear. You only have is this really sophisticated gloss black.
It's like a U-shaped motif, which I guess is sort of carried on from the side garnish as well. It's kind of
if you will. And then you have the DI sweeping through that finisher with the Range Rover. Another important thing about the back is the way that we disguised the gaps. For a split tailgate, because this car delivers.
Initially I couldn't tell how it was doing that.
No. And again, that's an incredible improvement in terms of execution. And then at the lower, we definitely wanted to avoid the conventional bumper, blocky bumper feel to protect the rear of the vehicle. And we wanted to have this sort of wing.
It's almost like a ledge that comes out of the bottom of the car.
It's like a blade that continues from the side.
Yes,
and
I see
literally,
it.
But we wanted to retain that section. So a lot of work has gone through with the structure and the beam and profiling the beam so that we could get that section as slim as possible. Because it wouldn't have been acceptable to have a conventional.
It looks great, and also it's functional. So final question for you, Massimo, because the car obviously has a great British heritage, it is a British icon, but it's also a global car.
Correct.
So what did you have to keep in mind when you're conceiving it as a world car that has to appeal, like as it was said in the presentation, it appeals across demographics. It's all kind of people can own this car. So that's a big canvas to be painting on.
Yeah, it is, but Land Rover is a global brand, and our vehicles are global vehicles, so we actually consider that for every vehicles we do. We might dial some features up or down depending on market, but our cars are global cars that represent, they stand for Land Rover values, Land Rover heritage, Land Rover DNA. But again, as I said in the presentation, they're consistently looking forward, but they are global cars.
Thank you so much, Massimo. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And once again, congratulations on the beautiful 5th generation Range Rover.
Thank you so much.
I'm here with one of the guys who has just about the coolest name, I think, in the motor industry, Nick Rogers. You should be a superhero. Surely you were in the Avengers?
No, you're incredibly fine. No, I'm just an engineer. But
you are a superhero of sorts. I mean, Nick Rogers, Executive Director of Engineering for Jaguar Land Rover. You've been with this company. I mean, if I cut you, you bleed Land Rover, don't you?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I've had an incredible career in 38 years at Jaguar Land Rover, and I've had the honour of looking after engineering and our 11,000 engineers all across the globe for 7 years, and it's been an incredible journey.
And over that time, you worked on a number of very important models, some really incredible launches, including, for example, the I-Pace, which is the first full EV as well. Now, one thing that I find quite interesting, I know there's going to be one in 2024, but in the life cycle of this car, we are going full electric. Has this car been engineered to basically do that?
Of course, we've absolutely looked at the future, and as we discussed, we're absolutely thinking about Jaguar Land Rover as a consumer electronics company, so we really, really understand the stack. And so the most important thing is down at the mechanical level, we made sure this architecture is absolutely capable of being electrified. And not only is it electrified in terms of the backbone of the car, the body, but it's also capable as you move up the stack. And it is that absolute focus as a tech company that I promise you this car is electrified. But also at launch we've got that duality, because that is what Range Rover is all about. The original vision is that breadth of capability. So of course we have our lean, incredibly efficient gasoline and diesel engines, but we also have a PHEV, and this PHEV can do 100 kilometers on electric mode. And if you look at the data off the cars, most customers do less than 80 kilometers a day.
I was going to say, I think I said it in the intro, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that not, in this segment, is that not the longest range for a PHEV?
Well, of course it's a Range Rover. And so it was that duality. And if you look at the data anonymized from the customers, we can see over 90% of our customers' daily usage is less than 80 kilometers.
Yeah.
So effectively, you can use this car as a BEV every day,
Yeah.
but then you've got the duality that on those longer journeys, you can also use it as a combined electric vehicle as well. So simply, it's an electric BEV at launch for everyday use, but we will then continue to grow that capability.
Now, one of the things, now I talked a bit about this in the design as well, but one of the things that at first glance, and it's interesting because this car is parked opposite its predecessor, and it's interesting to compare the two, but at first glance, a lot of people are going to say to us, oh, they've just reskinned the existing car. But this is not the existing car, is it?
This is a completely new architecture, completely bespoke for the Range Rover. We would never use a platform or something else for the Range Rover because the Range Rover is the ultimate. It is the Range Rover that in the 1970s created the luxury SUV segment. And this car is absolutely packed with technology, absolutely driven as a tech company in terms of a group of engineers, and all parts of the stack are completely bespoke for this car.
It's interesting that you're talking about tech company. You've mentioned it several times now. And this thing, was it 70 ECUs on the car that are basically you can update them over the air? That's what the two fins are for at the top of the car?
So one of the most important things in the world we are now is it's a connected world. Not only is it electrified, it's a connected world. And the customers, of course, expect the functionality of consumer devices. So it was only natural that the way we've grown the skills in engineering over the last few years and that technical capability, we have created the new Range Rover where it has what you call retained newness. And so that means that software, you continue to enhance it and you continually grow it. And we can update all 70 of the main modules over the air. But we also monitor all of that functionality, all that capability, so that even if in 3 years' time, this Range Rover, we would have the latest operating system, the latest functionality, the latest resilience, and the latest features.
So it's the Range Rover that never gets old.
Exactly.
But also, the other interesting thing you said, 125 patents on the design of this car, including, is this part of it, the incredible headlights here?
So one of the cool things is this spirit of disruption, this spirit of finding a way that's here in Jaguar Land Rover. It's in all of the teams, this incredible team that we have here. They have pushed the boundaries to find solutions to make people's lives better. That's what being an engineer is all about. The coolest thing of an engineer is to make somebody's life better. And they've found ways of doing that. If you look at the control system for this headlight, firstly, there's 1.2 million micro mirrors that oscillate on each side of the car.
Amazing.
But the patents and the really cool bit, the engineering that's been invented is the control system. And this control system for the two lamps can focus on 16 objects simultaneously, continually monitoring the reflection from all of those objects, and then with 0.1 degree of accuracy, hone out all of those objects so that you get no distraction. Because Range Rover is all about effortless. Range Rover is all about low cognitive load, and engineers finding solutions. You can drive in the dark more effortlessly than ever before with no distractions.
So bringing it back down from the technological high, it's good to hear they're still coming with a V8. And my Middle East viewers will love that.
Well, it's important about duality. Yeah, we have to look after all of our customers. And this Range Rover duality is something that is just in the DNA. And it's absolutely right that we create the Range Rover as it was launched. The Range Rover is for all occasions.
And it's a global car. Is there anything that you had to keep in mind for the Middle East region when developing the new Range Rover?
Well, of course, we have a test facility and we have engineers out in the Middle East, and we test in every corner of the globe in extreme circumstances, in extreme heat, in extreme humidity, as well as extreme cold. We also, not only do we test in the markets, but we also have the capability here. So the investment we've had over the last few years to really grow as a tech company, we can simulate everything in our rigs here. And in fact, we now have over 260,000 simulations that we run repeatedly. And that really is the power of the mechatronics and software revolution.
Talking of the power, thank you so much, Captain Nick Rogers. I can't wait to see this car in the market, both here and in the Middle East. Thank you so much.
You're incredibly kind. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Big shout out and thanks to Jay Williams over at Air Technic, who are my top tier sponsors. Check them out for exhaust, brakes, suspension, and even body kits. Also, much appreciation to my tier 4 sponsors, Muhammad Ali Ahmed and Tom Conway Gordon. And of course, all of these other guys who have joined me on Patreon. Without their support, I can't be creating the content that I am doing. Perhaps you can join them. Head over to patreon.com/browncarguy. Even if you can't do that, make sure you're subscribing and sharing this channel, which of course is youtube.com/browncarguy. Also subscribe to browncarguy.com and follow me on all the socials. Just search for my hashtag, which of course is #BrownCarGuy.